Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy K Breezy here, and as you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm gonna be hooking y'all guys up and just telling y'all how to eat up on the battlefield in Warzone, and just some tips that I have to really improve your game and get some more kills. So if you're excited for today's video, be sure to let me know down below by dropping a like. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, because then you don't have to worry about missing out on some of the latest Call of Duty news or a post from this channel. But let's go ahead and start off with the first tip of today's video. And tip number one is just going to be simple, straight to the point. Yeah, just don't suck at the game. No, I'm just playing. One thing that you should work on if you're trying to get more kills is your positioning, and this is a lot easier said than done, but to just start off and be a bit more general with positioning first before I go more in depth. The first thing that you want to do is not be too far into the circle, because if you're too far into the circle, let's say you capture the next flag and you're too far into the circle, you're going to basically have people constantly bombarding you trying to get into the circle as well, and that's just going to cause you to have to get into unnecessary fights. Where you basically want to be is like sweet point is like maybe 20-30 seconds depending on where you're at in the circle. You want to go ahead and you want to start moving towards the circle and always basically edge guard the circle. You never want to be, you definitely don't want to be in the middle, because everybody's going to try to be in the middle because that just sounds like an amazing spot. But where you really want to be is on the edge, because you have the storm as kind of like your back end protector. You know nobody's coming out the storm, and if they do come out the storm, they're going to be heavily weakened, and they're going to have to take off their gas mask. So it's going to be kind of a short period of time where you can shoot them without retaliation. And by having the storm to basically protect your backside, you're going to be a lot more confident, and you're able to focus on what's in front of you without having to worry about being flanked all of the time. And not just your positioning with, when you're getting into the circle, your positioning when you're fighting squads. In this game, I got 17 kills, and I'm not saying like, oh man, I'm freaking beast, or anything like that, but I got 17 kills because I had really good positioning, and I was not playing in a lobby of pros, of course, albeit, but the way I position myself in these fights is what allowed me to consistently win these 1v2 and 1v3 situations. Within all of these clips, you'll notice that I never just ran straight into a full squad. The way that you want to fight a full squad is you want to engage them, but basically stretch out your presence and take them on. You want to fight them in 1v1 situations at every time. I'm not exactly sure which clip is playing, but basically, obviously, two people shooting at you at one person, you're going to die. I don't care who you are, you're going to die if two people are shooting at you. But what you want to do is you want to separate and manipulate them into moving the way that you want them to. This way, despite being outnumbered, you're actually only fighting one person at a time, and it allows you to get your edge over the enemy team. Basically, the main thing you want to do is at least down one person, if at all possible, because that causes the enemy team to do one of two things. They can either be down a person, which they're probably not going to do unless it's random, or they're going to try to revive them. This next tip is going to involve your loadout, and I already have one video on the channel about your loadout, but I'm going to make a more updated version soon because I found a better loadout that works much better for me. But basically, you want to have either an SMG or an AR. I think more or less the top 3 ARs or weapons in the game right now, or the MP7, the AUG, and the M4A1. The honorable mention for me would probably be the Growl 5.56. But mainly, you want to be using one of these 3 weapons because they have the fastest time to kill with lowest recoil and best rate of fire. And because you want more kills, you want to be more meta, you want to have less time between you and you down in the other person. But you basically want to have overkill with one long range and one close range weapon. That way you're the most versatile that you can possibly be. As far as perks, I use quick fix so that when you kill a downed enemy, your health automatically goes back to 100. Overkill, and then I think it's tracker. That way, in case somebody does get away from you, it's not that big of a deal. I also run a second class. Like, let's say I buy my first loadout and then I find another loadout drop throughout the game. That has basically the same exact thing, but it has ghost instead of overkill. That way you get ghost as well as having both your weapons at the same time, and you can just you can just go ham on people. And for this third tip, you're basically going to want to work on your spatial awareness, or like your predictions basically, because this allows you to determine where enemies are the most likely to be, how they're going to move, the routes they're going to take, and so on. This is one of those skills that you kind of just learn by playing the game and, you know, just going into match after match after match. But over time, it becomes really worth it. And it's something that you're going to end up doing without even really having to think about it for the most part. You know, a good comparison would be like when you're playing chess or playing Yu-Gi-Oh or something. But you basically want to think 2 or 3 steps ahead of your opponent and determine the most likely moves that they're going to make, and then go ahead and prepare to counteract those moves so that when they do make those moves that you knew they were going to make, really isn't anything to it because you already knew that they were going to do them. Now this next tip is something that you should have already been using, and it's something that all the pros do use, and it is strafing. If you don't know what strafing is, it basically means to move to the left or right whenever you aim down sights and you fire. What this does basically is make you a moving target instead of a standing target. And, you know, anybody should know just from reasoning that being a moving target is much harder to hit than hitting a standing target. I know it doesn't look like it whenever pros are playing, but you just watch, say, Nade Shot or Swag or Courage, anybody, you're going to notice that as they fire at enemies that they're actually moving to the left and right or crouching or doing something. They're not just standing still and firing. They're always going to be moving whenever they're shooting, because it makes them so much harder to hit, and those 1 or 2 missed shots could have been key shots that could have killed you. You're probably going to have to work on your aim a little bit with some bots or something like that. I might even make a video on how to improve your aim very quickly, but you know, that's another day. But by strafing, you're highly increasing the chances that you don't get killed, and you go on those longer kill streaks and just get more victory royales in Warzone. For this last tip to get more kills is to prioritize getting ghost or UAV, or basically just using kill streaks to most of their advantage. Those last 2 or 3 circles before it's that final closing circle, you're gonna hear an enemy calling a UAV like every 10-15 seconds. Like every 10, somebody's gonna be calling in a UAV, and if you don't have ghost, they're gonna know where you're at, but you're not gonna know where they're at, and it's gonna make it that much more difficult. For this reason, what I always do is I prioritize buying my own loadout and then going early game or maybe even mid game to a free loadout drop. That way I have both of my weapons, like I mentioned before, along with ghost. That way they don't find me whenever they do activate those UAVs. You know, not just UAVs, something else. You want to always be using cluster strikes, precision airstrikes, that type thing. A main question that I hear a lot is what's the difference between a cluster strike and a precision airstrike. The only main difference is with the cluster strike, you get to call it in faster and a ray down heck faster, but precision airstrike will have more damage and more range. That's why for the most part people go with the cluster strike, because it comes in faster, and most of the time whenever I call in a precision airstrike I don't get the kill unless they're like out in the open somewhere. So that's why I usually stick with cluster strikes, but that's more just like a preference for me, you know. And it's always during those last couple of circles that these cluster strikes and all that good stuff become really vital, because like I said before, by using your spatial awareness and just, understanding where the enemy is most likely to move, if you go ahead and say call in a cluster strike knowing that they got to go through that door or die to the gas, they're probably going to go to the door, die to that gas, and you're going to have a head start on them because you know all of the decisions that they can make based on the kill streak that you have on hand. Other than kill streaks, I'd say specialists. I prioritize. Top of the list would be stopping power rounds. Second would be dead silence. Third would be probably a trophy system, and the fourth being the deployable cover. The reason I picked stopping power rounds is just, it's in the name, stopping power rounds. You do more damage, but your recoil is increased as long as you have those rounds in your magazine. Dead silence, so you can just go ninja mode. And trophy systems too, if needed, counteract any enemy kill streaks or like lethals or anything like that, like I mentioned before. But yeah guys, these are just some of my tips that I have, some of the tips I could think of that I feel like really helped improve my game, because recently I started getting some more wins by using the tips that I mentioned in today's video. I might not be the best Warzone player, but I do feel like I have some pretty valid information to share with you guys, and I really do hope that it helps you in your game. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, because then you don't have to worry about missing out on some of the latest Call of Duty news or a post from this channel. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you want to see next, because I'm really interested to know. Or if you even have some tips to share with other people, be sure to leave it down below as well, because I always have plenty of things to learn, and I know that I'm not the best player in the game, that there's always a bigger fish out there. But thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, it's your boy KB signing off. Peace.